Hi y'all, it's me. I'm here to share with you a couple of projects I made for a special friend, Candy. She's Burnswag here on YouTube. Hey Candy! By now she should have gotten these items, so that's why I'm sharing them with you. I want to show you what I used for the projects. As far as the paper collection goes, I used the Romantique by Prima. This is the A4 size, which is really nice to work with. You get 3 of each sheet, and there's just more than a 6x6 and an 8x8, which is really nice. So anyhow, it's a beautiful collection if you haven't seen it. And so that's what I used. And for this very first project, I used my most favorite Sizzix die ever. That took me a year to find it because it's obsolete. It's been discontinued. I wrote to Prima and asked them, to Sizzix and asked them how come they don't remake it and put it out because it would be a good seller, but nobody answered me. So anyhow, this is the banner die, which I love this. It takes such little effort to make something that looks really nice because all the pieces are there for you. You just layer them all together. The number on this, if you're interested, is 655467, and good luck. That's all I can say. It took me a year to find it. I know that a couple of places online show it, but they really don't have it in stock when you go to them and ask them about it. So anyhow, let me show you the first thing I made for Candy, and it's beautiful. I love this. I love the way this came out. I'm not going to be able to fit it all in the camera, but I'll try to get it up as best as I can. So I made her this beautiful banner to hang in her scrap space, and I love this. The papers were perfect. The colors came out perfect. I'm really happy with it. So I used seam binding here to connect the pieces together, and then in between each of the letters I added some pink seam binding and this vintage seam binding that I had in my collection. Heck, the pack was like, I think it was it sold for like 39 cents when it was, so it is vintage. So anyway, I used that in between the pennants, and then I'll show you each letter one by one. So as you can see, basically the paper does all the work in the die because you actually just layer all the all of these pieces came from this die, which is incredible. So anyway, I used some of the Pro 31 flower trim. I used the Recollections Butterfly. The letter C is from Thickers. And then these flowers were in my collection. I just glimmer misted them. And I had these bead sprays in my collection as well. I just added those. And then I added a dangle with some pretty pearl and a little dangly thing down here at the bottom, which I think makes it look dressed up and very pretty. So that was the letter C. And the letter A, I used the same trim from Pro 31. These are Want to Scrap Pearls here. A Thickers letter, the flowers I misted. You'll see that there's some green leaves throughout this project and my next one. And I punched those from mulberry paper using this Martha Stewart Rose leaf punch, which I love. And so I did that and added some stickles to the edges of the flowers and the leaves to give them some oomph. This piece here is vintage. I got this at CHA. There was someone selling on the floor, which they're really not supposed to do. But she was selling all these vintage pieces stuff, and I got a bunch of stuff from her, and this is one of those pieces. So I just thought it worked perfectly. And then again, the dangle down at the bottom there. For the N, I basically did the same. The Pro 31 trim, Thickers, flat back pearls, the flowers, the leaf. And this is a Recollections resin piece that I added there, and the dangle at the bottom again. The D, I used the same trim, flowers, Thickers. These birds are from Michaels, and the leaves again I punched out and then added a dangle. You could see it really didn't, I didn't have to do a whole lot to make it look so pretty because the paper and the layering does it for you. Okay, then on this one I used the trim as well from Pro 31. Thickers. This flower is from the Delightful Designer on Etsy. Really beautiful. And then this is a Martha Stewart butterfly that I punched out and added stickles around the edge, and then used those bead sprays in the background there. And then a dangle down at the bottom. So as you can see, it's very simple to throw together, and it has such great results. That's what I love so much about this die. Okay, enough about the die because you guys know I love this die, okay? Anyway, so that's that. I hope Candy enjoys that because, oh my gosh, I had a ball making this. And then the next thing I want to share with you is I have to give a shout out to Mariana. Hey Mariana, she's Angel Wings 14100 here on YouTube, and she makes mini book pages and inserts and stuff that just, she inspires me. So every time she makes one and does a tutorial, I feel like I need to sit down and do it, and this was no exception. So let me show you this one. And she said on her video you could use it as a standalone mini, or you could use it as an insert for a mini book, and I chose to use it as a standalone. It's perfect. It makes the perfect gift, and if you ever have to make a mini for someone, it's so fast to put together, mainly because you can see it's not very bulky, and that means you can't add a lot of elements on the inside. So you really should use, I guess, with this a paper that has just so much beauty that you don't want to cover it up, like Mariposa or the Butterfly Garden from Pink Paisley, Lady's Diary. I mean, any of these beautiful papers that you don't want to cover up, perfect project for that. So let me start by showing you what I've done here. I've used some beautiful trims from my collection, and I've used this little pretty butterfly that I found when I was downtown. Little acrylic butterfly. I cut this out from the collection there and put it up on Pop Dots. These are some Want to Scrap pearls there. This is cut from the collection as well, sheet music, and I just rolled it up and roughed up the edges with the Tim Holtz Distress tool to make it look old. And then I added this beautiful little cameo there. It has a butterfly. I'm not sure how clear you could see that. And then I added in some flowers here from Pro 31 and Wild Orchid Crafts right there. And then these are from my collection that I just sprayed with the Glimmer Mist, and added these pearl sprays and the Martha Stewart leaf punched out of mulberry paper. So it's relatively simple and easy, and I think it's so beautiful. I love the way the cover came out. Now for this, I cut out the pieces from the collection of paper, and I added some seam binding for the closure, and there's a magnet under there. That's how I keep this closed. And I fussy cut this piece out as well and hid the magnet under there, so they kind of layer on top of each other like that. And then I attached it on the back with a fussy cut piece here, as you can see. And just a piece of the paper. I didn't want to embellish too much because, as I said, it's probably going to lay flat anyway. So what I really love about this too is that you can see the 3 layers that are coming inside the book. You get a sneak peek of them out here. Really cute. So I love that. And so, okay, let me open this up and show you how this works. And the first thing you'll see is a pocket, and I used my favorite EK Success punch here. I made a tag from the collection paper, and I cut out one of the flowers to use as the pull, and I raised it up on Pop Dots just so it would give it its own identity against this background. And then on the back here I stamped some journaling area, and then she can add some little photos here if she chooses. On this side here, I fussy cut this beautiful lady out of the collection. Very pretty. And actually that forms a pocket, but I didn't want to put a tag in there because if I do, it takes away from the fussy cutting and she doesn't really stand out as much as I wanted her to. I figure Candy can either add something there later or not, or maybe something small where it doesn't interfere. Okay, then this opens up and there's a place for photo here and another place for a photo, and I fussy cut here from the paper collection this image and added the Martha Stewart leaves that I punched out. And these flowers are actually vintage Prima, and they really are because they're in these tubes, which they don't hardly make anymore. And I've got stacks of these things, and it seems like every time I use flowers from them, they multiply. I've never seemed to finish a tube yet. And believe me, I've tried. So as I was saying, you can't really do too much because you don't want it to be bulky, but so I fussy cut this one as well from another piece of paper in the collection, but this one I glued down instead of Pop Dot so it would be flatter. So then you close that and you flip it over, and again there's another photo area here, and I fussy cut this image from the collection. I added some Prima Flowers flatback pearls here just to keep it simple, and she could slide a photograph under there as well. Really cute. It's like a little scenery. So cute. And then on this page here, I took one of the tags from the paper collection and mounted it on chipboard, raised it up on pop dots, and added these little flowers peeking out from the back. And there's a place for a photo here, and this is actually a tag that comes out. And as you can see, I haven't really done, let me set that down. All I did was back the paper with some cardstock so she could add a photograph in there if she chooses to do that. Let's see if I can get this back in here without any drama. So there that goes back in there. Now this flips open, and as you can see here on this page, I've added another item that I fussy cut and set up on pop dots, and she can slide a photograph up under there as well. And then this one here, you'll see there's another page here, and I didn't do anything because the paper's so beautiful, it just does it for you, except that I added a few Prima flowers and this tab punch from Stampin' Up. This little thing opens up, and then you can add photographs inside. Really pretty, really nice. Then, if that wasn't enough, that one folds down and you have a pocket there. And in this pocket I used the trim from Halud, the eyelet trim, and I just trimmed it down to line the pocket, added a Prima flower with the flat back pearl, and I made a tag out of the collection, backed it with cardstock, and did some light stamping on there for journaling, and she can add a photo to that as well. And then lastly, on the bottom here, let me see if I can move this out of my camera's way, there is another page, and this one has a little pocket back here that she can slide a photo into. This was cut from the collection, and I fussy cut these little flowers out of another piece of the paper. I punched out this with a Martha Stewart punch and added some bling in the center. So as you can see, this as a mini in itself, it's just gorgeous. I mean, it's got enough photographs. I mean, you could definitely put plenty in here and makes such a beautiful presentation. So Mariana, thank you so much for this tutorial, and Candy, I hope you love this and use it, and I thank you all for watching. If you have any questions, please email me, and I will link Mariana's tutorial for you down below. So thanks, and have a great one. See y'all soon. Bye.